Okay, looks like everyone was able to get in. So I will kick us off. Thank you everyone for being here this evening or whatever time it is for you. This is a very exciting panel for us because it's the first one of the conference featuring some of our longtime research partners. So we'll actually be hearing from two of our research partners today. The first talk, a report on VR enhanced English learning using Oculus Quest 2, will be presented by Dr. Wakako Kobayashi. Dr. Kobayashi received her educational doctorate in TESOL from Temple University in the USA. She is currently a professor at Nihon University in Tokyo and serves as the vice director at Global Research and Education Center there. Her research interests include sociocultural theory, extensive reading, and the implementation of collaborative online international learning. Dr. Kobayashi, thank you so much for being here today, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Tricia, for kind introduction. Good morning from Tokyo. I am Wakako Kobayashi. Today's presentation title is here. And this is the contents of this presentation. Actually, I had already omitted the literature review section. And this is the introduction. With advancement in technology, new styles of language learning have emerged. Foreign language learning in VR has also received considerable attention in the past few years. In this presentation, we take the position that VR technology has a great potential to improve foreign language learning as an educational resource. The purpose of the study and research questions. First, how do the participants perceive VR English sessions? Speaking self-confidence, motivation, willingness to communicate, attitude toward speaking English were hypothesized to increase. However, speaking anxiety was hypothesized to decrease after the 5 VR English sessions. Number 2, how does the participant English proficiency change before and after the VR English sessions? Number 3, how do the participants perceive their own speaking self-confidence, motivation, willingness to communicate, attitude towards speaking English, and anxiety after the VR English sessions? Methods, participant, and setting. 8 participants enrolled in VR English session at a private university in Tokyo in 2022 academic year participated in this study. 7 native speakers of Japanese and 1 foreign student from China. However, 1 student had dropped participating in the course after the first session, maybe due to the corona pandemic effect. The general English proficiency level of the participant varied from A2 to B1 according to the CEFAL criteria. And the participant had voluntarily enrolled in the VR English session which ran from June 2022 to January 2023. And in May 2022, we received approval from the Research Ethics Review Committee very formally. And in June 2022, the participant took an English communication examination produced by CASEC as a pretest. After completing the CASEC examination, 5 concurrent VR English sessions were held approximately once a month over summer break. And this is the general schedule for the VR English sessions: July, October, November, December, and January. Each session hold approximately 40 minutes long after the school lectures. Participant and setting. After the 5th session, the 7 participants completed the questionnaire using a 5-point Likert scale to rate the degree of speaking self-confidence, motivation, WTC, and attitude, and speaking anxiety. They took the CASEC English communication examination as a post-test to show possible gain in the English proficiency. This is the instrumentation Oculus Quest 2. I guess many of you had already got accustomed to use this kind of tools. And this is Immerse Incorporation's Immerse Classroom. Immerse Incorporation was chosen because their VR English sessions were designed based on the CEFAL, Common European Framework for References. Affective orientation questionnaires to assess the participants' self-confidence, motivation, WTC, attitude, and speaking anxiety. A questionnaire written in Japanese was distributed after the 5 VR English sessions. had completed on January 19, 2023. Analysis and result. In this section, the result for the 3 research questions were reported and discussed. Research question 1. How do the participants perceive VR English sessions? Speaking self-confidence, motivation, and attitude were hypothesized to increase. However, speaking anxiety were hypothesized to decrease. It is hypothesized that necessity of familiarity with the VR tool is required. These hypotheses were derived from the coding and dividing it into 5 categories of the assertion. Speaking motivation, these are the actual data from the reflection record. 1, they were really exciting experiences. 2, it was absolutely a fantastic experience. 3, I would like to practice English little by little for the next session, and I would like to experience VR more. In terms of self-confidence, number 1, I feel that this experience gave me a lot of confidence. In terms of self-speaking anxiety, although I am anxious about my English speaking ability, I am very much looking forward to interacting with everyone at this VR experience meeting. In terms of WTC willingness to communicate in speaking English, number 1, I was anxious about communicating in English. I still couldn't respond well, and my answers were short. The interaction in the VR metaverse was so interesting. I feel that closeness of distance in VR, so I wanted to make more of an effort to communicate in English, getting rid of my sense of weakness for English. Familiarity with the VR tool. Number 4, I have become much more familiar with the operation of VR tool. I was surprised at how much I could remember even after a month had passed. Advantages and challenges of VR enhanced foreign language learning. Number 1, VR is much more realistic than video or images, and I felt like I was really in the world. Number 3, in VR, we felt a sense of freedom in foreign language learning. That's amazing to me. In the past, most of our language learning was based on prescribed vocabulary learning and grammatical study. But this time, you see, I realized that I could do whatever I wanted and that foreign language learning was free. As I experienced cafe store and visited famous French sightseeing spots with other participants. Number 5, I thought that about 30 to 40 minutes was appropriate for VR foreign language learning. Also, it was very realistic. It was very powerful. I was impressed by more than just language learning. And this is the result of research question 2 English proficiency changes. The mean CASEC pretest score was displayed in table 2. Later, if you are interested in, I could email you with attached file. The participant CASEC pretest results are shown in table 3. The highest score was 692, while the lowest score was 437. Some of the students' scores were increasing thanks to the study in using the VR tool. The mean CASEC post-test score was shown in table 4. Compared with table 2, the mean score for section 1 increased from 140 to 156. The CASEC post-test result was shown in table 5. The highest score was 787. That indicated that participant age score increased from 692 to 787. And this is a research question 2 participant perceptions of the affective variables after the VR sessions. Discussion. In this study, we investigated the advantages and challenges of VR enhanced foreign language learning in a Japanese university. In this section, the findings for the 3 research questions are discussed and pedagogical implications are presented. First, it is noteworthy that VR English session exerted significant impact on the participant with regard to research question 1. Second, in terms of research question 2, how does the participant English proficiency change before and after the VR sessions? 3 participants increased their scores. Third, VR enhanced foreign language learning should be used more frequently in the future in Japanese universities. Fourth, studies of VR foreign language learning have appeared occasionally in research. However, you see, in general, it was neither focused on the affective variables nor investigated in Japanese institutional settings often. Fifth, one major pedagogical implication from this study is that results for research question 1 and those shown in table 5 can serve as a useful framework for future research when researchers consider the positive pedagogical effect of VR enhanced foreign language learning. VR has the potential to enhance foreign language learning. Conclusions. This study suggests that VR sessions exert meaningful positive impact on some participants' overall English proficiency because it is fundamentally enjoyable. However, researchers should consider how to improve known issues using VR-enhanced foreign language learning activities. This is acknowledgement especially to the Immerse incorporations, and this is a references list. And thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kobayashi. And now I will present our next speaker. So our second talk, which is titled My Daily Life in Immerse, Authentic Language Learning in Immersive VR, will be presented by Dr. Sangmin Michelle Lee. Dr. Lee received her PhD in language education from Pennsylvania State University in the USA, and she is currently a professor of global communication at Kyung Hee University in South Korea. She has published extensively on language learning in a technology-enhanced learning environment, machine translation, L2 writing, game-based learning, and digital creativity. Sangmin, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen first. Can you guys see my PPT all right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hey, hello everyone. I'm Sangmin Michelle Lee from Kyung Hee University in Korea. I'm honored to have this opportunity to share my research with you here. I have been using Immerse for quite some time as I joined the team in its first year and having conducted several studies so far. So today I'm going to talk about how Immerse facilitated situated authentic language learning in my class last semester. Okay, I especially focused on authentic language learning. As everyone knows, authentic learning is important, especially for language learning. Authentic learning, which focuses on real life and multifaceted, ill-defined problems, places learners as doers in real life, like in environments, and facilitates learning by doing. And then also increases learners' affective factors like motivation, engagement, enjoyment of learning, and also cognitive factors like comprehension, memory, and retention, thereby improving learning outcomes. Okay, the participants. The present study included 19 Korean EFL University students. Their English level was between high, intermediate, and advanced. As shown in this picture, we used an extra large classroom to avoid bumping each other and noise. Okay, the project. This project was implemented in the course of the task-based English learning, and we had 12 sessions in total and included 7 scenes relevant to college students, such as airport, bar, home, restaurant, shopping center, gym, networking center. Okay, the prompt. I provide 2 scenarios for communicative task in each scene. For example, the scenario for the bar was like, you're sitting for a friend in a bar, and there is a really cool guy or girl sitting alone nearby. You think it would be nice to have friends, so you'd go over to talk to the person, but the person seems annoyed by you. One of you expresses that you're interested in a person, and the other tries to politely decline the offer. The student took a role and carried out the task in a pair. One of the reasons to provide prompts for each scene was that I'd like to provide an advanced level of a task. So for example, at a fast food restaurant, instead of ordering food, I gave a task to the student to complain about the service and the food. So in other words, I control the level of the task. Okay, the research question is the first one. How did the immersive VR environment mediate a learner's verbal and behavior actions related to language use in the communicative task? The second one, what aspect of immersive VR facilitated the EFL learners' authentic communication? For the research, I used the qualitative research methods, including screen recording and semi-structured interview. I also collected student pre- and post-speaking scores, but I did not include them in this particular study. Okay, I will talk about the findings focused on authentic language learning in the immersive VR environment in 4 aspects. First, action, where immersive environment allowed the student to act, move, explore as they would in real life, which in turn changed the dynamics of the conversation. This excerpt is from a conversation in the home scene. In the first exchange, student 1, who played the role of the newcomer, asked the student 2, who had lived in the house for a long time, to show her around. And in subsequent turns, they moved around the house together. This was shown by the avatar's actual movement and also student 2's utterances like, come here, follow me, and come here, come in front of the bathroom. Her utterances in turn initiated the student 1's physical movement. And as they moved together, they also shared the same view of the context. And this actually helped them continue their conversation a lot as we would do in real life. Okay, the second scene is shopping center. Here, the students frequently use indexicals. Indexicals include personal like I, he, she, it, spatial like here, there, this, that, and temporal now, tomorrow, yesterday. Their use of indexicals were another indication of authenticity and immediacy of the situation. In this excerpt, the students frequently use the spatial and personal indexicals. Particularly, it's interesting to see that they were able to talk about buying necklace without actually saying the word necklace in this conversation. This was only possible because they had a shared view in the VR environment. Okay, the third scene I'm going to introduce is the gym, and the theme is object manipulation. Beyond just referring to object, the student often actively interacted with and manipulate the objects. In gym, as shown in the excerpt, the manipulation of the object and explanation about them, how to use and how to move with it, were the core of the conversation, and the conversation usually evolved around them, the object. Hands-on manipulation of virtual objects provide a concrete context for language use and create more dynamic interactions and meaningful actions, so facilitating communications. The last scene I chose was the kitchen in the home scene. In this scene, as a student 2 showed the newcomer, student 1, around the house, she explained the house rules, such as the rules for the bathroom, laundry and kitchen in great detail. So, for example, as to says, this is the kitchen area. We have the table and the fridge and the other things like we have everything here. Basically, you can use the kitchen equipment, but please, again, keep it clean and organize cleaning right after you cook it. After you have dinner, you have meal. So it's go and go. And this level of detail was possible because the simulated situation was very similar to her everyday life. So she could relate her conversation in Immerse to her real life experience and talk to her friend a lot more easily. Okay, the interview. The findings from the interviews aligned closely with the analysis of recordings. Most significantly, the students viewed the authentic conversation and immersive and engaging environment as the benefit of using immersive VR for language learning. Noting that conversation in immersive VR was like a real conversation with the people in real life, and it did not feel awkward. Well, the most frequently mentioned words appearing in the interview were English learning, situation, immersion, authentic conversation, object manipulation, and useful. And the student also frequently mentioned increased speaking opportunity, meaningful learning, and the practical application of language skill in real life situation. Okay, in summary, I identify 4 pedagogical benefits of using immersive VR, Immerse, for language learning. First, it provides a situated, visually simulated real-life context in which students can naturally converse with each other. This environment facilitates student active learning because they are constantly exploring the environment and interacting with the objects and also with other users. And as they do, They talk to each other about them, and this type of conversation in immersive VR increases engagement in behavioral, affective, cognitive domains. And it also reduces student language anxiety. Actually, during the interview, most of the students said they had zero speaking anxiety when they were immersed. It was amazing. Finally, the environment relates speaking in the target language to their everyday lives. So it is meaningful learning for the students. For example, my student often mentioned the practicing at the airport was very meaningful because so many things can happen at the airport, and they said they were always nervous about at the airport. But the simulated practice at the airport was like a rehearse to prepare them. So because of the practice, they said they would do well at the airport next time in their real life. Overall, my students really enjoyed the task in Immerse and were satisfied with the learning outcomes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sangmin. Thank you both for fantastic presentations. We do have 2 minutes if anyone has a question they'd like to ask. I'm also going to drop in the chat the link to our research page on our company website that features all the work done by our partners. I know that we have work by both Sangmin and Wakako up on that website. So if you want to read more about their papers, definitely check that out. If no one has a question, I have a question Perfect. Frederick asked, is there a way for the instructor to track usage and maybe a student's understanding? So if either one of you want to talk about how you did that in your study.
I'm not sure what he exactly mean by the usage, but I recorded everything they did. I recorded the screen, and also I recorded the classroom as well. So I actually analyzed the movement avatars and then also the students' real actions in the classroom. So that's how I track the student usage, like interactions with others or interactions with objects. But other than that, I'm not sure what you exactly mean here.
Yeah, I added 2 in the chat. We can also track and see what classes students have taken, what practice sessions they have done, etc. Let's take one more question and then we'll wrap up because we're right at time. So Rosa was wondering, how are they assessed in the live lessons? So if either one of you want to talk about how you assessed learning, I know Sangmin, you used a speaking exam into
Is
the
it okay
study.
for me to answer a little bit? In my study, we try not to assess every student because it's not the obligatory classes. It's extra classes conducted after the every lectures from 6 o'clock p.m. So we didn't try to assess students using the Immerse classroom. It's extra enjoyable classes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. I am going to stop us there just so we can be mindful of time. Any of you on this call who have registered for our live guided tour, you should have received the instructions via email on how you can access that. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much again, Sangmin and Wakako, for your fantastic presentations.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
for
you.
attending our presentation session. See you later.
Thank you.